What's up, everybody? This is Rob Wilds.
And this is Chris Casanova.
And hey, if you're enjoying WrestleShoot, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe button.
What are you waiting for?
Yeah, man. You don't got to smash it. Just press it.
We can't do this without you.
That's right. So please join the WrestleShoot family by clicking that like and subscribe. Congratulations, you have found WrestleShoot Radio. I'm your host, the Wild Thing, Rob Wilds, joined of course by the ladies' man, Chris Casanova. Between the two of us, we have 40 years of professional wrestling experience, and we're here to shove our opinions down your ear holes. We'll be joined by buddies who are going to shove their opinions in your ear holes as well. So stick with us. Let's go for a ride. Welcome to WrestleShoot. We know how to do it, and we do it real well. Oh, Jesus, I swear to God, that intro cracks me up. Right in your ear holes. What's up, everybody? Welcome to WrestleShoot. I'm Rob Wilds, joined, of course, by the lovely and talented Chris Casanova. What's up, brother?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
And gentlemen.
That's my Salvinus impersonation.
That was great. Then you put the casual and gentleman at the end. Now, that's funny right there. I don't care who you are.
All
right.
So, what we got going on today? We got
well. Hang
right?
on now. You missed your cue for the. Oh my God! We have reached episode 4.
Oh yes. Should I redo that?
Yeah, we'll start over. We'll start over. Ready? How you doing, Chris?
Wow, we have reached episode 4.
I'm
excited.
Good times. So what do you want to jump off with today, my man?
Well, I think we have to talk about the part 2 of the Asshole of the Week, Rick Luxury. I think there was a story we wanted to finish up last week, and we didn't have enough time, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's right. Episode part 2. See, he's such a douchebag. I totally forgot about him, so I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, but I don't want to. I mean, I want to spend a little time, but not too much on him because I don't think he really deserves a lot of time. But I definitely want to tell this story. So it goes back to, I think, one of the first times he started working with us on our promotion. We were doing the we had the school back then.
Are you going to tell the schizo story?
The schizo story, yes.
Okay, can I lead into this? It started off where we were doing WrestleShoot TV. And,
exactly.
And that particular night, I couldn't co-host it with Michael Porter because I had to go get my gear on to fight you.
Oh, was that the night? Okay.
We had our big hardcore championship match that night. So Rick Luxury stepped in as co-host that night. So
that's right.
Now that I've put that out, you may continue, sir.
No. So so before he went on, I think I'll kind of rewind a little bit. He was talking all this stuff about schizo and blah blah blah. He goes, I'm gonna do a shoot interview about him, and we're like, okay. I guess back then you and schizo had a lot of heat, and it was always back and forth with you guys, and myself a little bit as well, and it just wasn't a good time. I mean, I think we've all grown up since then, but
there was a lot of ego involved with me and Schizo back then. Was really, if you break it down, that's what it was. Me and Schizo's egos just banged off each other.
Exactly, but the thing was, you guys were real about it. There was no buttering each other up, and then, oh hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. None of that.
Really wasn't even
real.
It really wasn't even anything we addressed professionally. Our heat was all personal.
All personal. And so Rick Luxury, obviously he knows about this, and he's like, well, I can go on. I got some heat with Schizo. So he goes on a WrestleShoot with Michael Porter, and I might forgetting some of the things he said, but he was just talking so much shit about Schizo. Like, he's like, oh, he's a bitch, and he's He can't shoot.
At the end of it, he ended his little shoot promo with, "I'm going to take your boots off of you and then kick your ass with it."
That's right. Yeah. Yes, and that was like the big old thing. But he went off like a 10-minute rant about talking so much shit about this guy, and he actually had real heat with him. And so anyhow, we're like, wow, okay, that was your thing. Now I think what fast forward was it maybe a couple months later, maybe?
No, it was weeks later.
What? It was weeks later?
Oh yeah, it was really soon after he did that.
Like maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks.
Yeah,
maybe?
About 3 weeks. It was when you were out there to do the APW reunion show, and then the next night we were doing the PWI, I think it was called, and that is where Schizo was also booked.
That's right. Yeah. So that was the show. So we went out there, and I remember we were all walking in. It was you, I, and Mark, who's one of our students.
Mark then. Vega. Yep.
Yeah, Mark Vega. We walk in, and we see Rig Luxury kind of standing over there, and we see but at a distance, and then we see Schizo I don't think we really said too much to him. I mean, I don't know. I remember if you said anything.
We didn't say anything to him? No, but what we did do was we both realized that we were at somebody else's show, so he gave me a nod, I gave him a nod back, and that was really all the interaction we had. But there was no nastiness between us, but there certainly wasn't any pleasantries either.
No, it was almost like a respect thing. Like, hey, this is in our house. We're gonna be like, hey, how's it going? Okay, cool, nod, and and that was pretty much it. So Rick kind of comes over. And I think it was we're around the same time we did the nod. Like Rick comes over, hey Schizo, what's up, brother? How's it going, man? And blah blah blah, and act like they're like the biggest fucking friends, ever. And of course Schizo's like, oh hey, blah 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 blah. And I think he was a little standoffish at first, but then they just started chatting it up and blah blah blah. And
well, Schizo was always standoffish at other people's shows with everybody. The guy had such a ridiculous level of paranoia that somebody was setting him up for something.
Sure. And I don't want to take your line from you because I know I laughed. I was like, wow. And that was kind of like, I was like, that's interesting. But you have to say what you said because I can't say it better than you can. After that happened.
Oh, my dear God, I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah. Okay, Joy. I think I remember you said something like, "Wow, aren't you guys pretty chummy?"
Oh yeah. Yep, that's right. I did. I called Rick out to his face, and I didn't actually say, but I implied, "Wow, aren't you guys all buddied up after all that shit you were just talking?" And then just walked away, and nobody knew who I meant was talking shit.
Right, exactly. And did Rick kind of do a laugh like, oh, ho, 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 like that?
Yeah, oh, okay, Rob. That Schizo gave him the stink eye like, oh, he's talking about you.
Yeah, exactly. Schizo knew exactly what you were talking about.
Because, I mean, me and Schizo, Jesus, our heat and our, no love for each other really went back a long way. So, he knew what I was getting at.
Exactly, yeah. So...
But the point is he was on the WrestleShoot television, just blah, 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 and I'll kick your boots off you and I'll kick your ass with it. And then he's like, oh, hey, brother, let me give you a blowjob for a little while. Oh. And we called him out on it. And it was funny, too, because the whole house that night was the most concerned that me and Schizo were going to tie up. And
absolutely.
It was just ridiculous for anybody to think that because that has never at all. Me and Schizo have tied up, but it was always in the street. It was always just a man-to-man thing. We have been in plenty of locker rooms together. We've never clashed. And what they should have been worried about was me kicking Rick Luxury's head in for being such a little two-faced bitch.
Yes, exactly. That's what they should have been worried about.
Yeah, but he's such a pussy.
So, Rick, we're going to finish up here. But
that's
yeah, you
part
were definitely an asshole.
Part two. of
You're
asshole.
definitely the asshole of last week. Yep.
Yep. Well, he's also the asshole of this week, apparently. But I'll tell you what, dude. Tonight we're going to have an old school WWE, WWF double main event. Because I nominate a new asshole of the week for this week.
Wow, 2-in-1 show. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, and come January, when we put all of our assholes of the week on the pedestal and decide who asshole of the year is, there's a really good chance it is going to be Alberto Del Rio.
Wow, Alberto Del Rio. Okay.
Now, I don't know if you've heard about what happened, but the ex-WWE champion Alberto Del Rio was recently indicted. And he has been charged with 4 counts of sexual assault, as well as aggravated kidnapping. Now,
wasn't he with Paige a while back though? He was, right? Quite a few years back. I think they were actually together. Okay, gotcha. All right. I just want to clarify that. But anyhow.
Now just so everybody listening understands, to get aggravated put in the front of any charge means there has to be a weapon in play.
Wow.
So this happened in May when his ex-girlfriend called the police and said Alberto, and his real name is Jose Rodriguez Chucan, fucking Alberto Del Rio, was arrested in San Antonio, Texas. After his girlfriend told the cops, the pro wrestler went into a rage when they were still together, accusing her of cheating.
Accusing her what?
Of cheating. He was accusing her of being unfaithful.
Okay.
And this gets this gets really, really intense, because apparently what he did was, and I'm just going to kind of go over a Reader's Digest version of this, but apparently what he did was busted in on her with a weapon, and he proceeded to sexually assault her on 4 times that they're actually charging him for. One of the times that he did it, he made her wear this little sexy, low-cut, slutty dress and forced her to dance for him. Him for hours. Made her dance for hours and told her, if you stop, I'm going to take your infant son and drop him on a freeway somewhere. Can you believe that? I'm going to drop your baby on a freeway. And at some point, as he was actually raping her, he shoved the dirty sock that he wore all day in her mouth so she would keep quiet. So when she finally, he started his assault at 10 p.m. on May 3rd, and it lasted until 2:30 p.m. on May 4th before he finally fell asleep and she got a chance to call the police. And when they showed up, she had marks on her face, her legs, arms, back, neck. He just beat on her all night long.
So, wow. I mean, this guy, he pretty much had everything.
And, the reason that him and Paige split up, is because he beat on her. But, Paige ain't a pushover, so she smacked the hell out of him back, and I think he just went, oh, my God, this is too much, and I can't have a woman who can maybe take me, because let's not mince words. Paige is a bad mother.
Yeah.
She is. Coming from a wrestling family and all that. And, Del Rio proved he was a bitch when he had his first MMA fight with Tito Ortiz, and Tito beat the hell out of him. He can't fight a man, so he just runs around beating on women.
Yeah, he's a woman beater. That's what he is. And basically, he's a piece of shit.
He's a piece of shit. Yeah. Now, if he is convicted for the aggravated kidnapping in Texas, he's looking at 99 years in prison.
He ain't.
And if he gets convicted of the sexual assault charges, that's 5 charges that carry a maximum in Texas of 20 years each.
Wow.
So he's looking at 200 years in prison, and I say let's send him and let's make him somebody's girl in prison so they can beat the hell out of him a little bit.
Oh yeah, he'll be traded for a pack of smokes. Yeah, absolutely, you would.
I mean, you hear about it so much with the Jack Gallagher thing, and then you hear about this piece of shit right here. You know, Matt Riddle, he's been accused of sexual assault on a woman. What the hell is with all these wrestlers sexually assaulting women, man? We never had to do that, boy.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think he's not in the limelight anymore. Who knows? Who knows what the reason is? But like, I mean, he had everything. He was in I know he was in TNA for a while. He obviously was W champion. I mean,
it's not like he ever had a hard time keeping a job. But even when he was wrestling for the McMahons, I mean, he assaulted Paige several times when they were both working there. This guy,
yeah,
and you know, Matt Riddle, and we'll get into that probably next week about, you know, the trouble that he's facing for his sexual assault on a wrestler, on a woman wrestler, obviously. Well, not obviously, you never know nowadays, but
right, sure, yeah.
Alberto Del Rio. I used to watch him. I mean, you remember, I've said when we're watching him on TV, man, there's something wrong with that guy. That guy just always rubbed me the wrong way as a piece of garbage.
Yeah.
And
he is. I think you kind of put on a certain persona, you know, like, okay, you're like, something's not right. You know, you kind of your gut feeling type thing. Like, I can't put my finger on it, but I just wouldn't trust him, you know, and yeah. Sometimes they say go with your gut, and that saying's really true. It really is. At least in my opinion. So his life is basically done. Like he's good. Yeah, no, good. I mean, you pay the price, and he's definitely paying the price. And
this is just who came forward. This was so severe and aggressive. People don't like their first time harming a woman is never this aggressive. They got to build up to this level of evil that he was doing. So you got to think of all the women who have fallen victim to this piece of shit, man. So
sure,
officially, go ahead.
No, you said. I mean, I just, yeah. I think it's maybe over a period of pattern of time, you know. It's like maybe he's seen it when he was younger and he thought that was okay. I mean, we could throw a lot of scenarios out there, but yeah, you're right. I mean, this definitely probably wasn't the first time. He's had practice, obviously, and it's gotten more and more aggressive and brutal. I mean, so yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that.
And he went so far to make sure she couldn't reach out for help that the police say he smashed her cell phone. He smashed her laptop. He put her driver's license, or her ID, rather, or whatever it was, in the garbage disposal and set her passport on fire during the night.
Wow.
Yeah, this guy, he's just a head case. And you know, I've heard that he was never too popular in the back, you know, working on the big show, that none of the boys really much cared for him. And he's a piece of shit. Alberto Del Rio, you are definitely beyond Rick Luxury level of asshole of the week. And I hope he is convicted. Right now, he's out on a $50,000 straight bond. So it wasn't none of that 10% of $50,000. It was a straight $50,000.
Well, yeah. I think he definitely tops asshole of the week. I think he's like I'd say asshole of the year. Let's just go with the asshole of the year.
We haven't come to the end of the year yet, and we don't know what's going to happen over the year. We don't know who's going to do what, but he is definitely going to be in contendership come January when we run down all of our assholes of the week, and we pick our number one.
Okay. Well, I can say that, and I think you might agree with me on this. I think right now he's number one.
Well, how about this? So far, we'll say he's asshole of the quarter. We've done 4 shows. So out of those 4 shows, he has secured asshole of the quarter.
Okay, well there you go. We'll
make it like an asshole tournament.
There you go. Well, there you go. I like that. It's kind of like rankings, right? Like,
Yeah.
tennis or golf, you're like, oh, I'm number 2 this month. And then, you lose a couple matches and you're like, oh, I'm number 10, So your rankings can go up. So, yeah, right now, yeah, I can see he's leading for the quarter. So that's a good call. Okay.
There you go. So, all right. Then we'll make it official. He is asshole of the quarter. We have agreed, so it shall be done.
Okay. Absolutely. Wow.
So yeah, that got my blood boiling a little bit, got my hair standing up a little bit. What you got?
Yeah. Well, I don't think that this story's going to top that one because, wow, it's just.
Yeah,
I think that's it's too real. It's too real,
Sure. Well, let's be honest. What's our motto here?
Don't pull any punches.
What?
Don't pull any punches.
Okay. It's true. Okay.
I love that.
I think
every time we do that, you go, what?
I want to make sure I'm hearing it right. I'm like, okay, what? Huh?
I just think you like hearing it.
Probably, yeah. No, you're right. I actually like hearing it. Should we play a third time? What do you think?
Don't pull any punches.
Say that again, Homer.
Don't pull any punches.
All right. We're making it old. We're wearing it out. Come on, Rob. I'm not proud of that. You could do better than that.
Yeah, you're better than that. Yay!
I shouldn't have done it so many times. I gave into peer pressure.
Peer pressure. There you go. That's way to.
Now I have to not play it next week.
Well, that's gonna be hard.
I'm still gonna do it. Let's be honest.
Yeah, probably are. All right. Wow. Well, I'm talking about Chris Jerricho again because it seems like he's.
Oh, you mean
in the news
after his little podcast blowjob of Tony Khan last week? We got another one for him.
Yeah, and things have really changed, and I think I don't know if I told you about this, but I'm gonna definitely share it. So. Definitely an article, and he was on a radio show, and doesn't really say where, but anyhow, I'm going to repeat some of the things he said. So he wrote down, and he's actually tracked his matches on how many he's had, and wins, losses.
What?
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
You say he kept track of how many matches he had, as well as his win-loss record?
That's basically what it says here. So I'm going to read it like word for word.
Yeah.
Okay. Chris Jerricho explained why he wrote down and kept track of every match he had. And he's going to tell us why he started doing it. Okay. Now, I'm sure most people know he was trained at the Heart. He trained with the Hearts in Calgary.
Right.
Okay. So he says that my first day at the Hearts Brothers Pro Wrestling Camp,
the Hart
Keith
Brothers?
was there. Yeah, that's what it said. Hart Brothers. Okay. I think I read that right. Keith Hart was there. He kind of slams Keith a little bit. I don't know Keith. I never met him, but he's kind of slamming him here. So he said that it was the only day we ever saw him after he collected our money and split. Keith says, "Do you have any questions?" And Jerricho responds and says, "How many matches have you actually had?"
What?
Says it to Keith Hart.
What? What the fuck?
Yeah.
What? So his first day at the Hart Dungeon, he asks Keith, pro wrestling royalty in Canada, how many matches have you actually had? Okay.
Yeah, he actually asked him, and he said, and he was really annoyed. Well, that would annoy me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, wow. So why would you even ask that? And then he says, I thought that was really weird because if you want to know how many games Wayne Gretzky's played in, I could go to the library and find a record and look it up, Wayne Gretzky. I said, I'm going to keep a track of every list match I have had by hook or by crook.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding? Okay.
Yes.
Look, I just got to go on. I just got to go officially on record here, man. That made my brain itch a little bit. So last week we talked about Jerricho saying how him and Kenny Omega's match was the reason that Tony Khan decided to start AEW. And this week he's babbling on and putting Keith Hart down, and he's babbling on and on about keeping track of all of his matches and his win-loss record. Chris Jericho is a fucking mark. Chris Jericho is a fucking Mizark. You have got to be shitting me. I have no idea how many matches I have had. Hell, I barely remember how many titles I've had, much less the win-loss record, because it's a work.
It's all a work. Oh, by the way, he gives us his number. I have 2,722, which is what I have after tonight. I will keep a list, and I did. Like,
I will be a mark, which I am. And I hate calling people a mark. I hate to use mark in the derogatory term, because that's why we're all in this damn business, is we're a bunch of marks. But Jesus Christ, Chris Jericho is a fucking Mizark. That's embarrassing. That is embarrassing that somebody who got to the level and the talent of Jericho is like, oh, okay, tonight in
he's great. I mean, don't get me wrong.
In Lewiston, Idaho, I wrestled and I lost. Oh, but the next day in Cleveland, Ohio, I wrestled and I won. Yay! Yay me!
Yeah, he probably does that thing. Yay, like that.
He probably reads his win-loss record while he's jerking off.
Oh, yeah. Twice. I mean, seriously, 2 times. I mean, can't believe I'm talking about him, but I had to bring that article up. I ran across it. I'm like, I got to bring this up because I just think that's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, how about, I would be something like, my whole thing is I want to make sure to entertain the fans and I want to make sure the show's great and, I love when the fans pop for me. I mean, if you say something like that about every match, you document it. Come on, dude. Like,
well, Chris, we wrestled in Sacramento the other night and we lost. We actually lost.
Aww. Really? Wow. I mean,
yeah, it was horrible. We actually lost.
Huh. Oh, damn. Terrible. Wow. What the cry.
But you know what? We wrestled the next night in Las Vegas. And we won. Yay! Woo! Yes. That gives us a feeling of self-worth. You gotta wonder, does Chris Jericho just absolutely hate himself, so he has to keep total track of his character?
I haven't wrestled. I mean, I've had my share of matches. I mean, I'm definitely not 2,722, but I'm gonna be honest. I can't remember every single match I've wrestled or I've won, lost. But I tell you this: what I do remember is the fan interaction and stories and interaction with wrestlers I've worked.
Sure,
that's what I remember. Like the good stuff, the fun stuff.
Yeah, you had those particular memories of when everybody was eating out the palm of your hand, or they were totally eating the story that you were telling them, and eating that shit like meatloaf, and those are great memories. But even then, we've had enough of those where we can't remember them all.
Well, no, absolutely not. But
we weren't writing them down either, keeping our little mark book. Jesus.
Yeah,
Christ.
like a little notebook. It's like, geez. Now we got iPhones now and stuff. We can type it in there. But he actually probably had a notebook, because he's been wrestling for 25 years? I mean, Jericho, maybe 30 years? Yeah, it says 30 years, actually. So back then, he had a little freaking notebook, probably, and actually physically handwriting his matches. He probably wrote them after the match, went back to his little bag, pulled it out, sat in his little chair, and wrote it down.
Like, I remember talking to the first asshole of the week, Paul Orndorff, once, about him keeping a notebook, and how all the boys back then kept a notebook. But it wasn't of, did I win or lose? They wrote the date and how much they were paid that night, and they kept that for taxes.
Well, of course. Okay, that's a business.
But Jericho was keeping it for mark value. Okay, I wrestled in Tulsa, and I made this much money, and I wrestled this guy, and I won. Woohoo! And he put a big smiley face next to it. Yay, I won. I'm Chris Jericho. I'm the greatest. I beat Rey Mysterio. Woohoo! Everybody loves me. Douchebag.
He's greatest. I mean, seriously. I mean, he had 2 books probably. He did his little matches. He won and lost, and he had his little tax things on what he made. So he was basically doing double work.
He probably put it all on one line. Everybody kept there. This is the date, but he wrote date and then city and then payout and then who he worked and if he won, how many people were there, if he got a blowjob that night, if it was from a boy or a girl.
Yeah, WL circled the W. Oh no, I actually circled the L this night. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Could we just for this week say that Chris Jericho is definitely Mark of the Week?
Yeah, I think we can go with that.
God damn. We'll do this once a month. Mark of the month. 'Cause I don't want to do this every week. I don't want to really insult the term Mark because Mark is bastardized anymore. Back in the old days, the boys used to call the fans Marks just because that was the term. It wasn't
right. It wasn't
meant
disrespectful.
as a put down.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Like I remember sitting at an autograph table with Iron Sheik, and that was right after Eddie Guerrero died. So at this show, they did the 10 bell for Guerrero. And all the wrestlers came out of the back, and all the fans stood up. And, Sheik, earlier that day, believe it or not, was actually crying. He's such good friends with the family. He was very upset to hear about Eddie.
Oh, of course.
And then when all the wrestlers came out and the Mark stood up, Sheik and we stood up. But he just grabbed a hold of me and started laughing. And he goes, "Look at that, Robbie. There's more boys than Marks." And I almost pissed myself. For those of you listening who aren't smartened up all the way, boys are the wrestlers, Marks are the fans. But there were more wrestlers in the show than there were fans. And that was cracking him up. But he didn't say it like, "Oh, look at all these stupid people, all these Marks." He said it like, there's more wrestlers than fans.
Sure, exactly.
Crazy.
Yeah. Iron Sheik was great. He's a great,
Man, we really, I feel like we got to really keep our eyes on Jericho, man. He seems like he's going to be hours of good radio.
He's going to be what?
He's going to be hours of good radio.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, he even mentioned a comment here about saying, I guess the guys, I'm going to read this article real quick. I have to, because it goes on. There's another thing he says. He goes, when he says when he signs with AEW, he basically said it was the equivalent of when Bobby Hall signed with WHA in 1972. He was the biggest star in the NHL back then. When he left to go to his new upstart league, everybody in the NHL got a raise, including my dad, Ted Irvine. So he's saying that all the guys in WWE got a raise because of Jericho left, and Vince was scared, and he gave all these guys raises. I don't want you to leave me. So he's taking credit for that.
Well, I think we could safely go on record as to say that's complete BS. Vince McMahon doesn't just hand out extra money. Vince McMahon let Hulk Hogan and Macho Man and Nash and Hall, he let all of his big stars go. And then he made The Rock in Austin. And Vince doesn't say, let me give you more money so you don't go to a small-time new upstart. God damn. Jericho it clearly likes to embellish.
Oh, yeah. You can clearly tell in this article. And that was part 2 of it. I'm like, seriously, he's taking credit for that as well? It's like, gosh. I mean, what's next? He made wrestling, more relevant than Hulk Hogan did. Is that his next article? I mean,
no, but that's what he's saying.
Well, indirectly, he probably is. Yeah,
he's saying that Vince McMahon looks at him as a bigger threat to his company than Ted Turner, than a billionaire. Wow. He's saying Chris Jericho, a wrestler, plus the backing of Tony Khan and his super, super wealthy daddy. I mean, like Chris Rock said, there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. Shaq is rich. The guy that signs his paychecks is wealthy.
Oh, yeah. There's a huge difference.
So, Tony Khan's dad is wealthy. And he's put a lot of money into the creation of this, and that's cool. But give me just a small piece of a break. I mean, the ego on this guy. We always knew that Jerricho had a big ego, but he's delusional. He's delusional to think that Vince McMahon is so afraid of him personally. Not the cons, not the money machine behind them, but Jerricho. That I'm going to throw out a whole bunch of money so guys don't leave. Vince McMahon has always held the door for people who want to go. Goodbye.
Well, and you're exactly right. I mean, Shahid Khan is worth $7.9 billion. Okay,
That's
7.9.
Is that Tony Khan?
No, it's his dad.
Okay,
Shahid Khan. Okay,
yeah.
He's $7.9 billion. Okay, he didn't make that. He didn't make that obviously overnight, but he's always knows what he's doing. So with him listening to Chris Jericho and his son listening to Chris Jericho, yeah, no, that didn't happen.
I'm sure that they approached Jericho just like they approached Cody Rhodes. They approached what they thought were the biggest free agents at the time. But Jericho is a wrestler. He is talent. He's not management. He's talent in that company.
Yeah.
You don't hear
talent.
Cody Rhodes running his mouth like that. Cody is nose to the grind and putting on the best shows he can and not obsessing over stroking his own ego because he wants this company that he's in a senior management position in to work.
Exactly. And he knows, he's like, he sees the bigger picture. He's like, I'm going to do well here. I do my thing and do my role, and we're making something happen. His ego's out. He's already checked his ego. He doesn't have an ego. He's doing his thing. Chris Jericho, it's.
And we've both run across Cody Rhodes, and he's never been an ego guy. I've always found him to be just like his dad, to be very professional and respectful. And Dustin, same way. Dustin doesn't run around thinking that his shit don't stink, so to speak. I don't know.
Very humble. I've met Dustin Rhodes on a few occasions, and I've talked with him, and he's kind of one of those humble guys I know.
Yeah,
that I've met.
That's how his dad made them.
Yeah. And he'd be willing to pretty much tell you anything about the business and just as humble as hell. For Chris Jericho, yes, you are definitely the mark of the month for yourself.
Jesus Christ.
Get another cheer? Yay.
You want to give him another cheer? Is he
I think we should give him another cheer.
All right, let's give it up for Chris Jericho, mark of the month. Take a bow, Mizark. Jesus Christ.
But
it's just amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing. But so you got any other stories? I know you got some stuff going.
Yeah, well, here's something that kind of excited me a little bit today. I saw on what was that website? It was ProWrestlingSheet.com.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it said that NXT married a mysterious vignette for what appears to be a former champion. And I said, ooh, maybe it's somebody that I give a damn about. Because, let's be honest, it's really hard, for me anyway, to get too involved in the characters nowadays because there are no more characters. There's very, very few, I should say, characters nowadays. I mean, back in the good old days, it was, come WrestleMania in the main event, our super villain is going to do battle with our superhero, and who's going to come out on top? And nowadays, it's just, oh, yeah, John from next door and Mike from across the street are going to fight on Sunday. Right?
Wow.
It's just hard. It's just hard to get invested in a story like that. Anyway, it says here that the video began with night vision footage of somebody walking through a backstage warehouse towards a glass case holding old versions of the NXT title belt. Quote,
wow.
Yeah, quote, I'm not sure what happened. I created something on my own blood. A distorted voice said. Years of dedication, only to be taken over by a paper champion. So they teased that, and whoever wrote the article was astute enough to say that the only two former NXT champions who are still with the company, however, not on TV at the moment, are Bo Dallas and Bobby Roode.
Oh, wow.
Now, I saw Bobby Roode, and I got excited because I haven't been excited for a wrestler for a while, but
He's great.
Bobby Roode is a legend. He should have gone a lot farther when he went over to, the main brands of WWE. He should have gone a lot farther than he did. And they probably shouldn't have had him do the Rick Rude gimmick.
Yeah.
When he was working in Beer Money over in Impact, that was Impact, yeah. When he was working as Beer Money in Impact, man, he was just a powerful force, and he commanded your attention, and you were interested in what he did. But, I think that they should have learned already when trying to push Solo Snuka, as Jimmy Snuka Jr., and he was kind of the last one they tried to add on before the crowd started getting bored with the legacy angle. But they still tried to do it with, Kurt Hennig's legitimate son, which didn't really take. It didn't go that far. And Bobby Roode, who is not Rick Rude's legitimate son, that one really didn't work.
Wow.
So I'm just saying, everybody, even if he's only on the small-timer NXT, you heard it here. Let's all cross our fingers and put our hands together and say, come on, make it Bobby Roode. Now, I actually have a clip brought up that I could try to play if you want to hear how it sounded.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's see if we can get this going here. Night vision right now.
I'm not sure what happened. I helped create something out of my own blood. Years and years of dedication, only to be taken over by paper champions. These NXT championships have been in isolation for far too long. Now, I've come back.
There goes the glass case.
To take what is mine.
Wow.
And it fades back. And it says 10-4-20 at the end.
Wow.
It was interesting. It looked kind of like a video game, actually.
I'm not sure what...
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm saying I would love to see it be in Bobby Roode. That would be... Oh, man, that would be great, in my opinion, because he was good for the business until he was bastardized.
Yeah, and Bo Dallas is great, too, though. I mean, if I had to pick, I would definitely pick Bobby Roode. Absolutely,
I thought you were
without a doubt.
I thought you were going to say Bo Dallas. Boy, we was about to tussle over this.
No, not at all. Yeah, he's definitely a Rotundo for sure, Bo Dallas.
Yeah. Sure. In fact, I saw this thing on Facebook earlier where somebody, these wrestling Facebooks, they like to post these, fictional challenges, and one of them was who would win in a tag team title match, the Hollywood Blondes or Money Inc. And a few people popped up with, oh, it's the Blondes for sure. That actually made me laugh. I was like, oh my God. I think that would be a 5-star tag team match, absolutely. But the Blondes were way too young in their career to think they had the power to go over on Ted DiBiase and Mike Rotundo.
Well, I completely agree. And at that time, and don't get me wrong, Steve Austin and Brian Pillman were great. They were great singles wrestlers and a tag team. But I would definitely agree with you on that. Yeah, Money Inc. Yeah, hands down.
They were afforded the opportunity to be a great team, but in WCW, where at that time, in my opinion, besides the Horsemen, it was a very shallow pool to draw from. And that was back in the days where Money Inc. was wrestling with Demolition of the Heart Foundation, the Natural Disasters, then even the Nasty Boys. They were putting it out there with top of the food chain tag teams, and they always looked great. So the Hollywood Blondes, if they were in WWF at the time, would have been enhancement talent, I think.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
They would have been name enhancement talent, but they would have kind of been like the Coco Beware of like look at the Killer Bees. They never really got that push. No matter how good they were, they simply weren't ready for that big push.
Well, I don't think that's necessarily really true. I think, with the Killer Bees, back then there were so many tag teams. Like there was multiple tag teams, and the Killer Bees were a great gimmick. They did the whole switching the mat, putting the masks on and switching, and they were great. But I just think there were so many teams that they kind of got lost in the mix a little bit, I think.
To me, the Killer Bees were like the Young Stallions.
Oh, come on! I wouldn't go that far.
Well, I mean, it was back in the day where look they put a Strike Force over for the belt over the Bees.
They had to, because Rick Martel and I think it was Tom Zink that were the Can-Am Connection. They were going to get the straps. They were going to put it on them, and then Tom Zink left. It was some type of contract issue, I think, and so like, oh, what do we do here? And I guess
they grabbed Tito.
They grabbed Tito. So they were going to give them the titles anyways. So I was a great pairing. I thought Tito and was way better than Tom Zink for Rick Martel.
Oh God, yeah. Tom Zink. 90% of the people who are hearing this are like, who? And they're Googling, who the hell is Tom Zink? Because he was that much of a nobody.
Yeah, he went by Z-Man in WCW for a while.
Yeah, the Z-Man.
And he was a decent wrestler. I think he was okay. He was definitely good body and everything. He had the look and everything, but just didn't really have that, I guess, that charisma or that next step. He was just kind of basically a jobber, I guess.
Well, yeah, it was like the Young Guns. We knew who the talent on that team was. Or the young Stallions. I mean, the Young Stallions. We knew who the talent on that team was. It was all Roma.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then they moved Roma over to and tagged him with Herc, and man, I was a real fan of Power and Glory.
Well, yeah, and I think Hercules and him and Hercules were a great pairing, and I think Hercules was definitely a little underrated. I mean, I thought he was pretty good. I thought he was pretty good for what he was. I mean, him and Paul Roma really meshed off each other.
Yeah. Well, the problem with Herc was they were putting him in big man matches where there's only so much you can do, but they were putting him in with the wrong big men. Like the God, watching him and Warriors feud, it hurt my soul. I was like, oh my God. Don't get me wrong, by the time Warrior won the strap at Mania 6, I was a Warrior fan. But by the time I got into the business and was actually going through school and going back and watching his matches, I was like, oh my God, Warrior stinks. This guy sucks. He is only as good as who he's booked with.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Wow, indeed. But man, those were the days.
The good old days.
Those were the days.
Yeah, good old days. They were like, all right, we got an old wrestling tangent there for a minute there, huh?
You know what? I don't think that's a problem. I mean, yeah, we kind of have to talk about some of the newer school stuff, and some of it, is motivating, but old school, man, that's back when wrestling was wrestling. That's back when it was great. The McMahons, but before the virus, the McMahons were having a hell of a time selling out a building, and they've been having a hell of a time for a long time. But back then, boy, even they had the A shows, the B shows, and the C shows, right? That were touring around, wrestling the towns. Even the C shows with the C talent. They'd have like one big name, one really relevant somebody who headlined the C shows. But the C shows, they sold out. I mean, they weren't selling out arenas, but they were selling out auditoriums. They're selling out 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 seats. Now, the one with Hogan on it was selling out 20,000 seats. But every show that these places went out and did were selling out because it was awesome and interesting, and there were characters and original storylines and just excitement to be had. The crowd is really happy to be there, and the crowd that goes nowadays, they're like the last time we went to a WWE show, the crowd was asleep. It's like they were only there just to say that they were there. They weren't really into it.
No.
Like what happened? We went there and saw our old buddy Tony Jones doing a dark match.
Oh yeah.
And that was the most
Sacramento.
that was the most excited I'd seen a crowd in a long time, and that's just because they were chanting, "Who are you?" They found an opportunity to be mean to somebody and they got really into it. But the rest of the show was pathetic.
Yeah.
Like we were laughing that they were piping in cheers over the PA system. And as a matter of fact, we saw Schizo that day.
We did.
Yeah, and he gave me a nod, I gave him a nod back, and he watched the show and we watched the show. There was no weirdness.
Yeah, very, very, very respectful.
There was usually a little bit of alcohol involved when we would tussle anyway.
That never helps, but yeah.
Yeah, two guys who genuinely don't like each other, drinking anywhere near each other. That's kind of putting a fire to it. Oh,
yeah.
Lord, good times. Good.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So I don't know. It feels like we're kind of getting around that time. We need to put a pin in it. We can't be going an hour and a half every time like we did last time.
I do want to say a quick story. We were talking earlier, and we probably have a few more minutes, but
sure. It's
another comparison. You mentioned to me they were talking about something about the Freebirds and Public Enemy or something.
Oh, yeah.
And you mentioned something about they were saying who's the better team, or Public Enemy was better or something? Or
no, it was another one. Story. It was another one of those fantasy put togethers, like the Money Inc. and the Blondes, where they're like, oh, Public Enemy versus the Freebirds. And man, I had to actually post on that. I was like, are you out of your mind? Public Enemy has got to be like in the top 5 of the worst tag teams of all time. And you think the Public Enemy is going to get in the ring with the freaking Birds? They wouldn't work those guys. They'd say, nope, you better find somebody else, Jack. That's like putting, disorderly conduct in with the Hart Foundation. Or putting Insane Clown Posse in with Money Inc. I mean, that's how much sense that made to me. That was really funny.
Yeah. Well, I you know what? I can relate with disorderly conduct. I kid you not, in my first year as a wrestler, I almost worked disorderly conduct with a gentleman named Boom Boom. Yeah, with Boom Boom Kamini. We were going to team against them. And
really, with Boom Boom? Jesus Christ! So they were going to have Public Enemy, garbage ass Boom Boom Kamini, and you? Oh no!
And me. That's what it was going to be at first. And I get there the night before the show. The show was obviously the next day, and I got the booking itinerary. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, I already knew about disorderly conduct, but I was like, oh man, it's gonna be a long day tomorrow. And I'm like, well, I was young. I'm like, I'm gonna do it.
Especially with Boom Boom, because that dude would run out of gas in a minute and a half to 3 minutes, and you'd have to carry the rest of your side.
Yeah, and I'd be their fucking crash dummy, whatever it was.
Big fat bastard.
Yeah. So anyhow, the next day, they changed the whole entire show around just for some reason, except for the main event, but they changed about 3 or 4 matches around. It was most of the show. And I got put in with Virgil. I was like,
oh, okay, God. Virgil?
Yeah.
You couldn't win that night.
No, it was, at least I wasn't going to get crowbarred to death, but, yeah, that was probably not much better. Virgil didn't want to be there. And
well, hold on. Who ended up having to work Public Enemy?
Well, so Boom Boom stayed in the match,
Right.
and they moved Frank Murdoch.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah.
Poor Frank. Oh, wow, poor Frank. For those of you who are listening who aren't familiar with the name Filthy Frank Murdoch, you should Google it, look him up, man. That guy was an artist.
He was great. My debut match was against him.
So, okay, so Boom Boom and poor Frank had to work those douchebags. What about you? You got stuck with Mr. No, I'm not going to do that, Virgil.
Yeah, no, Virgil, and the match was probably made like 7 minutes, maybe us, and I think real quick match, and
how'd it go?
He just didn't want to do anything. He gave me a couple things, and that was about it, and just kind of like he thought he was basically Hulk Hogan, it's going to basically almost squash you pretty much, and
right.
But I was a pro. I worked with them, and we got through it, and it was definitely an experience. I remember the promoter, Roland Alexander, he comes to me and goes, I apologize about this. He goes, that was inexcusable.
Really?
Like, yeah, I never really had a promoter really apologize to me.
Especially somebody like Roland.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, no problem. It is what it is. And, so yeah, it was, but getting back to disorderly conduct, I think that match, I didn't really watch that match. I don't think it was really good. I think they didn't go that long. I think Frank was luckily, I think he was pretty happy to get out.
I would, and Frank was a legit, real deal shooter. Like
he was.
I wish I could go back and see that match to see if he lost it at all. I remember watching, I think I told you about this once, watching Murdoch wrestle this guy, Johnny Payne, who everybody, he's a real shooter, which, for the record, Johnny, the pit bull Johnny Payne, was not a shooter. He's a douche. He's a coward. But I was watching them do their thing, and Payne tried to get squirrely for a second, and Frank said, Jack, and he shot in there for it, put Payne on his back, and Payne managed to, wiggle out of it, and he just rolled right out of the ring. He's like, no. Waiting for Frank to calm down, and they immediately finished the match, because Frank would have killed Johnny Payne.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
I mean, there are 3 levels of wrestlers. All right, you guys, you got the worker, and that's like the John Cena, right? John Cena can go out there and he knows the dynamics, he knows the moves, he knows how to bump, and he can work a good work match. Then you got the shooters, and those are the dudes who know how to wrestle. They understand everything about the dynamics, the movements of real, actual down and dirty wrestling. And then you got the hookers. And those are the guys like Larry Zbyszko, who have the attitude of, if I want to hook you, you'll be hooked. And that's it. Those are the guys who, when you get booked against a hooker, you got to figure out if you're in trouble with the promoter. And that's why this match is happening. If somebody is
what's going on?
Yeah, if somebody is intending for you to get your goddamn ass whooped.
Yeah, wow.
And I'm proud to say that the two of us, we're somewhere in the middle of shooter and hooker. I mean, we gets down when we got to get down.
And there's times you have to.
And I checked on it today, by the way, the trademark for the Conquistadors. It's looking good. It's looking like we're ready to rock with it, and I'm really looking forward to doing that.
Nice. Me too.
Get out there with these young guys and, put them over like the old guys used to put us over, and teach them something, walk them through it, teach them some psychology, really get the next generation confident and strong. And, not like these other names, they go into these territories, and anymore, they don't want a job. They just say, no, I have to go over. I can't job. It'll hurt my stock. And like, shut the hell up. Go out there with these young guys and put them over like the old guys used to put you over. You're getting paid the same. This is their territory. They wrestle here every week or month or whatever. Back up. Make the guys in their territory shine and move on. And guess what, dude? They're probably going to bring you back for a rematch. It's just basic business, if you ask me.
Oh, yeah.
But who asked me? All right, you got anything else you want to add there, Mr. Casanova?
No, I think we're good to go.
Think we're good to go. I am still really, really working on getting Zoltan lined up, getting Preston Steele lined up. Duke is he's going to be back pretty soon, so he's pretty open to it. And I'm working on Marty Jannetty right now, our old boy, the rocker himself.
That's going to be a great show.
Oh, God, I love Marty. We always had so much fun with that guy.
Oh, absolutely.
Marty Jannetty gets a bad rap because he's definitely had his demons in the past, but Marty Jannetty is a great dude.
That he is.
So on that one, we're going to let it go. And boys and girls, for those of you out there in Texas, hang with us. And if you're looking to buy a house, check out our friends over at Ward Realty. You won't regret it. See you next time, Chris.
See you later.
Are you in the market for a new home in Austin, San Antonio, San Marcos, and the surrounding areas? Have you had bad experiences with realtors who work just hard enough to get that commission? Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't your realtor supposed to be looking out for your best interest and getting you the best deal possible? Well, friends, listen up. Chris Ward is that realtor, and I speak from personal experience. He's going to fight to get you into your dream home at your budget. He's always going to be 100% with you, and he'll get the answers to those confusing questions that go along with buying a home. It won't cost you a thing to give him a call and get the ball rolling for you. And sellers, he'll work just as hard for you, protecting you from predator buyers, lowballers, and scam artists. Give him a call at 512-618-5110 or check him out online at chriswardrealestate.net. Again, 512-618-5110, chriswardrealestate.net.